everybody, and welcome to our 8th session of the Hubraum on Air. I'm Julia, I'm your moderator of tonight, and I'm live here from the campus in Berlin out of the Hubraum office. Hubraum is the technology incubator of Deutsche Telekom. And not only do we have an investment fund, but we do also run various programs in order to facilitate the collaboration between Deutsche Telekom, developers, and startups. And one of those programs is going to be the XR Developer Program. So if you are a XR developer and you want to develop your solution with the engineering support of Deutsche Telekom, I welcome you to check out the program on our website, and you can find that link in our YouTube chat right now. But let's stick to the topic of XR because that's what our On Air tonight is all about. But what does XR actually mean? Right now, we should all be very familiar with the terms augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality. So is XR, or extended reality, just another of those realities? Not really. It is the umbrella term to describe all of these just mentioned realities, and all of those to come also in the future, meaning all the immersive technologies that allow customers to dive into a virtually created world and even interact with it, thereby creating amazing experiences that extend our reality. The extended reality industry is pretty big right now, and it's gaining more and more importance, and the revenues are phenomenal. So in 2019, it was set to be around 18 billion euros, and it's projected to be more than 1,005.9 billion euros by 2030. Also, Deloitte just recently conducted a study that showed that more of half of the German population would be very open to experience XR services. So, of course, we as Deutsche Telekom are very interested in collaborating with pioneers in that field, because that technology will significantly shape the experiences of our customers. And we as Hubraum are particularly interested in collaborating with developers and startups that are disrupting the market with their innovative ideas. And we just recently did. So last Wednesday, we just finished our mixed reality program that we have run with NREAL as our main partner, and also supported by Unity, Qualcomm, and MobiledgeX. And Wednesday, as I said, 13 very inspiring startups pitched their hard work that resulted out of that program. And if you have not watched the demo day last Wednesday, I can highly recommend you streaming in, watching it on our YouTube channel. And you can find that link also in our chat right now. Moving on to our guests that were also part of the mixed reality program, I'm very happy to welcome them again today. Marie Thor from Graffiti AI, we have Fabian Quosdorf from mixed.world, and my Deutsche Telekom colleague Sven Aschwege. And I would say the stage is yours, and I would also say ladies first. So Marie, why don't you go on and quickly explain to our audience who you are and what you are doing?
Hello, thanks for inviting me first, Julia. So I'm one of the three co-founders of Graffiti. We have David, who is our CTO, Said, who is our product owner. Said is kind of the genius of the team that got the 2 forehead, is the look on the tech on one side and the other look on the market on the other side at the same time. And I'm the CEO of the team. I deal with strategy, vision, market, and as my co-founders like to call me, I'm the money girl. I'm raising funds. We are currently closing our seed round.
Very nice, thank you. So handing over to Fabian right now, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience really quickly?
Yes, thank you very much. So hi, my name is Fabian Quosdorf, how it is pronounced in German, a little complicated name here. So I'm a XR developer since the first hour of VR and AR. Have been doing a lot of development very early on with devices that are now hopefully the industry standard and becoming the industry standard. One of the things that I always dreamed of and always liked to push forward is kind of communication. So to improve the communication between people and using technology not only to entertain people, but also to find interesting ways of of how to utilize them in everyday work and to solve problems by trying to merge, for example, between game engines and make good use of them in just different fields. And this is also one of the main reasons that mixed world exists. So with mixed world, we are trying to solve many of those problems, to bring all the building blocks kind of together to enable clients and customers in all fields of industry to work out how to use XR for the best.
Thanks a lot. Over to you, Sven. Can you introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Yeah, thank you for having me here. Hello, my name is Sven von Aschwege. I'm looking after XR in the innovation department at Deutsche Telekom. We've been also working with all sorts of extended realities since quite a while. I think for 6-7 years we are on the topic, and we have firstly started in the area of VR and developed the first and I think the biggest VR content platform in the German market. And more recently, in the last couple of years, we had a lot of focus also on mixed reality and augmented reality applications in some form or shape. For example, we had a big program we've done with Magic Leap first, and we all know the history. We all know that they've gone really formulated the vision of XR really, really good to the market. Unfortunately, they could not live up to their ideas and visions. And after Magic Leap, we basically looked for the next state-of-the-art device and picked up NREAL and have been working with them since. So we've done a lot of use cases, a lot of showcases. We've developed our own solutions and use cases with them. And now we are looking at more sort of creativity coming from all over the place, including the developers.
Yeah, we'll talk about this a little bit more later on. But first of all, I want to hand over the mic to Marie. Can you explain a little bit more what Graffiti AI is doing? And then I would be particularly interested how you would be able to shape the new shopping experience of people with your great solution.
Yes, thank you. So we are the Graffiti team is developing Reveal. Reveal is a revolutionary shopping assistant, which is based on visual search and augmented reality. There is a thing when you're shopping, it's all about choosing the right products for you, choosing the product that will perfectly fit your expectations. And sometimes it could be a real problem for you to search that kind of products. When we talk about making better consumer choices, everyone is okay. In fact, there is statistics about it. Almost 78% of the consumers mentioned that they need to change their habits. But when it comes to reality, when they are shopping, when they are in front of products, when they are in action, only 24% are willing to make the effort to search the information, to do so, to search on Google and so on. So that's exactly what we created Reveal to make it possible for people to access information just in a blink of an eye, simply by pointing your phone at the product, simply by looking at it. And we created actually visual search algorithm to recognize the product that is in front of them and the question the consumer is likely to ask. And we instantly display the answers in the most readable way, sometimes in augmented reality. Yeah. So we talk about price, quality, health, pollution, corporate responsibility, ethic, and all that in the blink of an eye.
Nice, thank you. So did I understand it right? And sustainability is a huge driving factor also for your product. So a bit more towards the zero waste economy here?
Yes, a bit more, I hope so. Yes, of course.
Nice.
Sustainability and consumer corporate responsibility also, of course.
Okay. I would be very interested, though, in understanding how you would monetize such XR use cases. Are you thinking about in-app advertisements, or what's your plan for that one?
I think that There is two ways to answer that question. On what side, I would say that advertisement will always be there, and XR really enables so much creativity. That's crazy. But at the same time, in our use case, advertising is about transparency, and it's so much more effective for a brand to just do what it takes to make its product score well than just advertise. It's nice for a brand to have nice pics and nice music and a good branding, but what is really important for the user, and at the end, for most of the brands which are working on that kind of issue, it's to display their transparency, to show that they are ready to change, that they are ready to change the recipes because the product scanner is perfect, to display the Nutri-Score because they know that health is important for their consumers. So maybe the value of advertising is way more effective when it's about transparency, and all the value will be at the same times for the people, for the user. Maybe user can pay for that kind of value, but it's also interesting for brands to display their information in the most effective way when they're making so much effort to change. Yes,
I get that. Yes. Sven or Fabian, any thoughts on that? Or do you agree with Marie maybe?
Yes. So, yeah, especially when it comes to monetizing something in mixed reality or in augmented reality. I think many companies also dream about how to create kind of a secondary layer on top of the real world, which is what mixed reality or extended reality is, of course, all about. What I think is that we need to still find a very good balance between just let's say of bloating the whole world with just advertisement, but as also Marie said, to make it worthwhile for the customer, because if you add something, if you just manage to give this added value directly to the customers, then I think you can succeed in also letting the customers and all the people on the world embrace this kind of new technology, to see that this really helps them, not only being bombardized with commercials all over the place, but also to have a real benefit out of this technology. And that's why this is, I think, a little bit of a delicate thing. We still have to find a very good balance between how much do we show the customers and how much added value can we add to in-app advertisement, for example.
Okay. So what you're basically saying is that as soon as it's tailor-made, it's perfectly fine, or it's preferred option, of course, instead of spamming. I can totally agree from a user's experience here. Sven, you had something to add to that.
Yeah, I wanted to add, it's also a matter of privacy and security for that matter. And also there are a lot of legal frameworks which need to be done before. At the moment, it's totally unclear who can place digital objects in the reality, where, who owns which real estate. So there are a number of questions which need to be answered. And first and foremost, we need to shift the mindset and not utilize this kind of spamming you mentioned, that like people like all the Facebooks and Amazons of this world own and can spam you with a lot of information you don't really need when you do these things, right?
Yeah, I agree. But they also started saying that they wouldn't use advertisement, right? So coming from this more B2C perspective, handing over to Fabian, because I would be interested, you collaborating more with the industry partners. Do you think that enterprise solutions have a bigger potential maybe than B2C solutions?
Yes, so it's correct that we've been partnering a lot with industry partners. So we've been also taking a look on how can we utilize XR or mixed reality approaches to improve, for example, let's say, the working environment for also, for example, the maintenance industry. And what we found out is that the acceptance of industry partners towards this new technology is at the moment a lot higher than for the general public when it comes to, for example, adopting this new technology. Most of the times, because we are still at a very early stage, especially when it comes to mixed reality hardware, the people tend to just wait a little bit. I mean, it's really cool, especially with devices like the NREAL, which have a very nice form factor, which more naturally blends in, that the people also start embracing this kind of technology and say, okay, when it looks like this, then I might be interested in trying it out. But still, the price point, even though it drops a lot, and it dropped a lot in the last couple of years, is still very high. So we still see some, let's say, people, especially in the consumer market, pushing a little bit away from being aware or able to pay a lot of money to use this technology. And in the industry, we can see that we can now give them solutions in a controlled environment. So they are willing to invest into this new technology because they see that they will really benefit from it, not only in terms of improving their workers' life, for example, but also to improve their customers' life. So in the end, if they produce something and use this technology to also let their customers benefit from a new approach, for example, in sales, then this directly impacts, for example, their KPIs. And this is something that everyone is in the end looking at. How can we improve our KPIs and how can we improve our business model to be able to play in the same league as others?
Yeah. Sven, from an enterprise perspective, can you relate to that? Do you agree with it?
You know, I mean, clearly, the enterprise normally adopt those kind of things earlier, and they can calculate return of invest and have a clear business case around it. They also are, fine with form factor. Just like Fabian said, they don't mind if there is something which is like something I wouldn't wear in the open public. However, my personal belief is we have to get it right for consumers as well. If we don't get it right for consumers, it will stay a niche. It will be there, it will be effective for enterprise, but it will somehow stay a niche then as well. So we need to get it right for consumers, and enterprise will come first, yes, but the ambition should be bigger.
Yes.
Speaking about that, though, what would you guys say is your contribution on making this niche market a mass market? Marie, what would you say?
Yeah, it's very interesting what Sven just said about getting into users' mind. It's all for us. It's all about that. It's been very user-centric. It's not all about tech. We were discussing about search earlier with Said and how important it was for the internet. How important search was for the internet. The first page that opens when you go on the internet is a browser, and maybe a search will be as important as that for the XR. It's the fact that we are not going to look at our phones searching for answers anymore, but we are going to look around and to search for information just like that, just by pointing with the smartphone. It's a really important and really interesting new things, new way to search.
Yeah. And are there maybe any like industry players that you're hoping for to push any further as well? Like,
yes,
what would you wish for?
Yeah, we are thinking about solving the privacy versus the camera, because when you have camera, just like all the smart glasses which has camera on them, it has some privacy issue. Without camera, the use cases are definitely less numerous and less cool. But with the camera, the adoption might be more complicated. So maybe searching for something different to recognize things, maybe.
Fabian, what is Mixed World doing as a contribution to making it a mass market?
That's a very nice question. This is one of the things that we also believe is super important. We, as Mixed World, also try to contribute to the community because, as also Sven and Marie said, we have to make sure that the people all over the world are starting to embrace this new kind of technology. Otherwise, it will stay a niche market. But this not only goes for the customers, for the end customers, but also for the development community. We are also on the development side a very niche market still. There are very little, I would say, experts who start developing in this kind of field. So we have to kind of motivate each other. Every one of us who's working in this field, we need to kind of stick together as a community, especially in this very early pioneering phase, to help each other out with contributions, for example, in, let's say, open source projects that then others of the community can use and build into their own solutions so that we can actually generate a lot of use cases, a lot of applications, and also take kind of this fear away a little bit from developers so that they see it's very easy to jump on this specific market, and also just give them some kind of spark into the right direction so that they try to start developing their own applications and try to let only their imagination be their boundary, but not the technology itself.
I really like that. Open silos and shared efforts to push this any further. And I think that's what we basically also did with the mixed reality program, Sven, where you were, for example, also a program mentor. So was that the aim of that collaboration with NREAL, Qualcomm and MobiledgeX, for example?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think part of it is what Fabian said, is bring a community together. So the more people exchange, the more you can generate out of it. And so when we worked with NREAL, we looked at various things to bring this and have the industry going forward. We also put the device in our shops and put it in front of our customers to have the chance for them to experience it, to give some feedback. We did some research around that, and in this developer program, we really wanted to get more creativity into this whole market, get as many developers as possible working on mixed reality applications and bringing their ideas and creativity into the program, and to get a broader access. We actually brought in Qualcomm and mainly Unity, who are really the glue in the market when it comes to developers. They are, I think they have most developers as their customers. They can access them, they can help them, they give them the tools. So they are really key and a hidden champion for me in this whole segment of industry.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued now, though. What was the feedback you received from the customers that were able to try out the glasses?
Yeah, so I must say we put them in the first research. We put the fairly early stage version in front of our customers and really try to get out of them what works, what doesn't work. And there were like a lot of different feedbacks, and they are really interesting. So on the one hand, some people said, wow, it's a great form factor, amazing what's possible already today. And some other consumers said, oh, it's still too big for me to go out in the street and wear it properly, right? And then a lot of people said, and actually most of them said, the quality is really good already. So I'm really surprised how bright and how good the picture quality is, which I'm getting from the device. So in that sense, we got a lot of good feedback. And when we started in the shops, we used some more what we call more showcases kind of approach, where you get some first idea, you see a dragon flying through a room. It's an impressive mixed reality experience. It's nothing which you do on a daily basis, right? So it's more about get the customer the first-hand experience. And now when it comes to the developer program and to all the people here, and we have two really important ones and two of the best here with us. It's about now getting use cases to the customer, so it goes more from a showcasing perspective into an everyday usage. And And the way I see it personally, it's like I start picking out my NREAL glasses together with my phone, maybe 5% of my time. And I do some specific use cases, entertainment, and maybe shopping. And only later I go more and more into a phase where I use it more because there are more applications coming. Maybe the cable goes away at some point, and I'm using more and more and more the device at some point in time, right?
I think you already mentioned what I was going to ask, because for me, it's more about like, if there were a so-called killer app, then maybe that would drive me also as a consumer, that for like, as of now, I think it's amazing. I'm very curious and I'm fascinated by the technology, but I still think there might be that one like killer app needed in order for me to be a heavy frequent user of an XR application. So do you think there is one already out there, or what do you think could be one? What's maybe the right industry for that? Any takes on that?
Yeah.
Marie, maybe you have an idea?
Yes, of course. When you think about XR, you think about entertainment, as you just say, then, and you think about game. It's crazy what you can do with XR and games, but you can also do something more just to make life easier for people. You can have a real impact. With augmented reality, for example, in our use case, you can change the way people see, really, with augmented reality. And by doing that, you can change the way they act too. So yes, I think that it can be a way to be used on a daily basis. And yes, of course, you think about entertainment, but you can also think about all the other use case which are going to make life easier for people.
Okay. But you have no specific application in mind as of now. But maybe, Fabian, you do in the B2B area. I read that the healthcare sector seems to be a very promising one. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think for XR, healthcare is definitely one of the more interesting sectors also to look out in the future. But I would like to directly also answer in regards of the killer app. If we take a look at the history of let's say how specific applications enabled specific platforms in terms of hardware to be adopted from users, we have, for example, a direct combination of, for example, the good old Tetris game, which was tightly bound to the Nintendo Game Boy, and which also helped that this became one of the biggest successes in gaming history for handhelds. And then if we also take a look at the more recent, the first generation of the Xbox, Microsoft's gaming console, we also had a specific game that was belonging to Microsoft, which helped the sales of this specific gaming platform a lot. And if we take it one step further to the current situation that we're in terms of mixed reality devices, like, for example, the NREAL, then it will not be only one application that is the killer application, in my opinion, that helps to adopt this technology further, but it is the application that actually helps the user in a way that he can make a very good use without maybe even knowing that he's actually using a different kind of technology. For example, displaying holograms all over the world, or in your vicinity, and also collaborating together. This is probably one of the most interesting use cases in which fields the users will start to see specific killer apps. Let me just give you a quick example, and then I will just hand it over to Sven. For NREAL, these glasses, they come, if you connect them to your smartphone, with something that's called the Nebula Hub, or the Nebula Space. So this is kind of the starting application. This is kind of the start screen of your smartphone. And this opens up a new world in your home. in your living room, for example, where you can use all the apps that you're familiar with, like, for example, your chat app or maybe your YouTube, or to be a little bit more brand specific, let's say your Magenta gaming space or Magenta TV, and you can just simply place it anywhere in the world. So you can redecorate your home with the apps that you're familiar with. And I think this alone, at least for many of the people that I know, would be kind of this killer app to see, okay, I can do that. That's interesting. I would like to try that out. Yes.
For sure, that would be the killer app for me. I mean, we've seen it in movies, I guess, and that's the dream. So I could just swipe with my hand, maybe even like.
Yeah, at the moment you would have to use your phone as a controller, but this is like having a remote control, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you're just exchanging what you're using to have the static television in front of you and to interact with it. And then you use your phone, you have kind of a little laser pointer, and then you can interact with everything like this, and it feels very intuitive and natural. And I think that's also one of the key elements. If you have something where you have the feeling that it's just normal for me to use it on a day-to-day basis, and you really enjoy using it because you don't think about it, but it opens up a complete new world. This is something that I think really helps the whole situation and also helps adopting this kind of technology for the general public.
I'm completely sold on it already. Sven, are you too?
Yeah, I totally agree here. For us, it's not like the one killer app. It's probably the sum of apps, and which makes it really compelling. I can do everything what I can do with my smartphone, but better, easier, hands-free. That's probably some of the key benefits. When we are selling the device already, the NREAL, our key claim for the beginning is really big screen, multi-screen, hands-free. That is, for the moment, at the start, the first, kind of key apps we see here. Magenta TV in the room, you just mentioned it. But really going down, looking forward, like fast forward a year or two, I would really imagine that it's really a number of apps which are connected to your environment, to use them much more natural. And maybe it's even like you just said, it's not even that you feel you have a new technology, it's just integrated in your life, right? And that's where I see it's a number of things. It's not the one thing. Of course, there are early adopters usually come from gaming area and so on, yes, but along the way it has to be just a better choice towards a smartphone, for example.
I actually wanted to ask this question in the very end, but since we were already a bit visionary and dreamy here, I would like to go on with it as of now. What is your craziest dream, your vision for XR? Do you have something in mind when you think, this stuff keeps me up at night and wants me to push this topic any further? Something that I want to be able to use the technology for? Do you have this crazy vision, just like I was just like, maybe one day I will be able to use my hand to swipe through the applications? Marie, you're laughing already, so maybe you have something up your sleeve?
Yes, I think that the hand striking will be coming soon. I hope. But I'm also thinking about the smallest device ever. Just maybe like a contact lens on your eye, something that which be completely, as you say, Fabian, with seamless and which would recognize the world as well as display information, just like in the movie in text, and you will see that just on your eye. I think about that.
Sounds fancy. I mean, I wear lenses every day anyway, so why not make them smart?
Yes.
Sven?
Yeah. I like the lenses from Marie, but what I was thinking, I was 2 years back, I was in the Magic Leap headquarters and had a virtual lady called Micah sitting next to me. And for me, the vision is basically when you go with glasses on, and the glasses have eye tracking, and they can basically see where you look at, also with your brain interface, what you think about anything you see the whole day. So this thing knows a lot about you. So huge amount of user data. And then you transform that one into a holographic kind of assistant, like we have an Alexa as a black box today, but this is a holographic assistant, which basically knows everything you want and need, and basically tells you in the morning, now you have to go get up and wear this clothes and so on. So have a personal assistant which you can actually see, which knows everything, which works fine for you, and so on. Seems to me like an interesting vision to go for.
Yeah. Fabian, do you also have a crazy vision?
Yeah, I think what Marie and Sven said is both really, really good. Also, for the, let's say, hardware become even smaller. We've seen in the hardware space, now the next step is that, for example, Qualcomm, the hardware partner, has now introduced, for example, this XR reference design for smart glasses, which is, I think, kind of based on the NREAL glasses, but goes into something where it's publicly available. And also with this in mind, everything that happens in the field when it comes back to hand tracking, for example, throughout the hubraum project, we've also been looking into a lot of machine learning algorithm. And for example, the Deutsche Telekom has a lot of partners that also are really active in this field. So we as developers, we can actually tap into this new kind of power to also make something that we could only imagine would be possible in the future kind of available right now. For example, we've also implemented one of the first working hand tracking samples for the NREAL. That's really close, so to say. And also those digital assistants, and also, let's say, with the graphical finesse becoming more and more realistic, we are now starting to overcome the so-called uncanny valley when it comes to characters. So Sven also mentioned the Micah experience from Magic Leap, which was unbelievable. And also, for me, this is something I would like to see also in the future. I mean, we've seen something like this in the more dystopian movies sometimes, where you have those digital avatars or maybe stand-ins for people. But I would say we should all embrace this kind of technology in a way that it becomes reality. And also, I would see if it extends our own body and our own vision and helps us to overcome barriers, then this is the crazy vision that I have for XR and mixed reality applications. So to be able to seamlessly meet with each other, for example, we wouldn't have to use Zoom or YouTube for video meetings, but we could essentially just put on our NREAL glasses and then just meet in the NREAL space, and then combine it with other VR goggles or whatever you would like to use, and then just we have a whole new kind of world where we can meet with each other without it feeling kind of cheesy or whatever, but more like this total new natural way to interact with each other.
Yeah, I really like this. I like all of your ideas. I hope that one day we'll be able to experience this. Exactly, especially what you said with the holographs. I mean, especially in times such as these, this would help us really to not feel that distance as of now, I would say, with COVID in place. So, which leads me to my next question. Do you think that the current pandemic situation showed us even more that we really need to push this technology forward when it comes to telecommunication services, for example? Sven?
Absolutely. So, I mean, in an ideal world, this would have come for us a little bit later, because then we would have been even more advanced. Now we have to, while we are developing the solutions, we had to suffer from this sort of lockdown situation. But in fact, I think you can see it from devices like the Oculus Quest 2. It's constantly sold out, so the people are embracing that one. They see it offers a value. We are doing more and more internal meetings in a VR environment because it really adds value. It's even better than this kind of video conferencing, because you have like a spatial sound. You have, if you look to the right, you see somebody to the right, and to the left the same thing. And if we would be, I think, 2 years down the road or something, we already are that advanced that we have really outstanding solutions. So, but at the end of the day, this new normal is anyway more involving home office, etc. So I think this will totally work in favor of the whole topic.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on that? And any experiences?
Yeah. So also when we started last year with also working on the NREAL. My colleague Robert and I, we just figured out that the situation that we also had in Germany with COVID and the lockdown will actually keep us from being as productive as we could have been if we could meet physically. So that's when we started to also kind of prototype and develop this collaborative ideation space. This is also something we tried out, and even with hours and hours of Teams meetings, for example, where we talked with each other all over the time. As soon as we put on the NREAL glasses and suddenly we're able to collaboratively see each other, even with a very stylized avatar in the real world, we could suddenly, it was like a relief for us to also be able to see, let alone the head movements of the other person, because there's so much subtle movements in your everyday movements as a human being, that as soon as you can see this movement, which is also transported, right, with the sensors that you have in all those headsets, to the digital avatars, that suddenly you kind of seem familiar with the guy on the other side, even if it's only a very stylized avatar. And this is something that really helped us to overcome this this crisis and this situation, and be productive, even more productive than ever before.
That's a beautiful insight, talking about productivity, and I can only relate to that. I mean, there are so many times where I would have loved to be in one room with my colleagues, but it was just not possible. And also, it's taking away all the risk if you were to use technology such as that to collaborate with your colleagues. Marie, did you have a similar experience with that already, or is that also one of your desires?
Oh, of course, I would do the same. And I think that you can read body language and communicate in a much more casual way when you're with people and surrounded with people in the same work office. But yes, at the same time, I think such an opportunity, there is many opportunity coming from that crisis, and having avatars and holograms and XR. I think that maybe we can just feel the opposite feeling, and just make that crisis an opportunity for that new technology, such like having holograms, such like Matsuko did. You are having that reunion, that meeting, and seeing your colleagues around the table with Matsuko. Yeah, that's very important.
And you guys are all part of making this possible, hopefully very soon. And with this, I would like to look at the questions that we got from our audience. And actually, there's one that I really like, that I would like to start with. It says, is there a branch within XR development that is focusing on the potential for people with disabilities?
Very nice question.
Yeah, Fabian, do you have a take on that one?
Yes, I have. I'm not sure if you're aware about this, about the Microsoft HoloLens, for example. The Microsoft HoloLens is kind of also this mixed reality device where you normally use the displays to display something else, like holograms in the fields of view. But with the older generation of the Microsoft HoloLens now being kind of obsolete, Microsoft, together with some companies, embraced this technology to utilize the old hardware to make some good use for, let's say, people with disabilities. For example, with guiding blind people through a museum, for example. So utilizing this precise capabilities of the HoloLens to know exactly where they are in the room, combined with the very, very good spatial audio capabilities, made them able to experience their environment, so the blind people, in a very new and completely overwhelming and breathtaking experience, so that they could kind of see and experience the whole scene in a museum like if they were seeing, I know it's not directly comparable, but really help them out to have a very new take and to be part of an experience like they've never been part of it before. And I think we will see more and more of these experiences if we just start to open our minds and look at the problems that we're trying to solve for people also with disabilities. I think there are a ton of use cases that I can also imagine right now.
Are you involved in any of these as of now?
Unfortunately not, but I would be very open to be part of this.
Okay. That's a good call to action here. Marie, I bet this is a topic that's also very interesting for you. So what's your thought
Yes.
on it?
Yes, of course, because with computer vision, as far as we can recognize the world around you, there is many things that you can imagine doing for the blind people too, such as, I don't know, maybe finding a seat in the bus. You're just walking with your glasses, and the computer vision recognizes that there is a seat which is free, just there. And it can tell you if you're blind. It can guide you because the computer vision recognizes everything around you. So yes, it could be very interesting things to work on. But no, we are not working on that, unfortunately, neither.
Talking about the shopping experience itself, I bet this could be significantly enhanced with making it tailor-made a little bit for example, blind people again, I bet.
Of course, you can. The key point is to explain people what the computer vision recognize. So
Exactly.
with that statement, you can do anything you want. You can enhance a shopping experience or just guide people in the streets. The same, yeah.
Any thoughts on that, Sven? Maybe Deutsche Telekom is involved in one of the projects that has to do with that.
We had on the earlier days in VR, we already had some projects in that direction where you do things against fear when you basically look from a certain height down and so on. There are like methods of doing that one. So there are things, and we've been involved there with a couple of smaller projects. We are aware that there are plenty of solutions, and mainly driven by, like Marie said, this ability of understanding the environment that allows for a lot of inputs you can get from your glasses and for a lot of solutions as a result. So it's like a self-driving car is recognizing all the environment around it. It's same for the glasses. They recognize everything around it and they can tell it to you basically. So there's plenty of opportunities, and yeah, it would be great to see more developments in that direction. One issue is always, there's a certain element of risk involved, right? If you tell a blind person something which then is not 100% accurate, you can run into trouble. So we have to really be careful, but it's a really promising sector.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Thank you. So yeah, let's just hope that we will see more great use cases to come for people with disabilities to help them out with some of the things. Sticking to you, Sven, there's one question that is directly asked to you, and we stick to the topic of risk. It says, would you say that creating XR services is more difficult in Germany because of all the data privacy issues than in the rest of the world?
That's a hard one, I think, there are indicators. For example, the Quest 2 was not available or is not available for, Facebook kind of data capturing and so on. There are some issues around that. So certainly we do have some strict rules on data. On the other hand, like I mentioned before, these devices can potentially collect so many personal data about you, so that I really believe, and I'm normally not so strict on these kind of things, but I really believe that privacy is the key element of this whole industry, of the whole way to going forward. Because imagine you can put all sort of three-dimensional objects into your real world. And if you don't do that with care and with carefulness and with privacy, respect and security, it gets a mess. It gets outrageously crazy. And therefore, I think privacy is the basis for it all. And yes, we are sometimes maybe on the very safe side in Germany, but I don't think that this is the wrong approach, especially for this topic.
Yeah, thank you. I think responsibility is very, very important when it comes to all these data that are being used from us, of us, when we talk about these technologies. And I know that Deutsche Telekom is very much concerned with this as well. So Marie or Fabian, did you hit a wall, or are you also thankful for the data privacy in Germany? What's your experience with that?
In France, it is the same. We are very careful about privacy. We have many people. There is law, and there is also what people think about privacy, and it's a mainstream to think that privacy is a key issue. That when you are developing any apps, you really need to be careful with that to avoid people to feel observed or to be too intrusive in their phone, or to invade their privacy.
Yeah, I think there are two ways to look at this. Let's say for the people, their personal, let's say, secure space could be broken apart if everyone is wearing, for example, some glasses that have a camera in them, and you have to fear to be part of every live stream that someone is now streaming to the internet. I think we need to make sure that this is not going to happen, or it's going to happen in a way where you still have the confidence as a normal person who's walking down the street that this is not going to happen all the time. On the other hand, it opens up a lot of opportunities to also, for example, make use of, let's say, powerful computer chips. This can also be a technological help to increase privacy protection. If you, for example, take computer vision and then pre-process data on your phones, like it is now also done, for example, with face unlock or with those fingerprint sensors. Those data are not leaving your phone, which means you still are in control. And if we can also achieve something like this in a useful way, and then convince the people that they are kind of secured, they are in control of their data, I think this will really help to make the people confident with all the security issues.
How could we convince them? Any idea? I think that's the hard part of it, right? Because people are very skeptical.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think,
What do you think?
For example, nowadays, Google and Apple are both trying to move forward with really investing in also being more transparent about what data they collect, especially in Germany. There's a huge campaign going on where I see, for example, commercials, and they try to help you find out, how am I in control of my data? How can I disable specific services that make use of my data? And to simply just make the people aware about that something is collected, and that they can actually decide if it is collected or not, and what are the benefits of making use of the data and how they are used. And I think if we just be very open about how data is used on the one hand, and also be very responsible as developers, as to make sure that we are not misusing the data that we are collecting, this will really help the people, because everyone in the world is kind of having the feeling that they are self-aware, that they are in charge of their own decisions. And if we support this specific feeling that everyone is in charge of their own decisions, and be super transparent about anything we do with data, will help towards acceptance of specific data and privacy data usage.
Thanks a lot. Okay, heading over to, I think the last question that comes from the audience is, what are your thoughts on the maturity of augmented reality versus virtual reality to enable mixed reality in the future? Maybe Sven, you can tell us a little something about that.
So clearly, virtual reality is the part which is further advanced, also in terms of content and things which are available. You can consume a lot of things on the devices already today. So in that sense, this one is advanced. The devices are still somewhat big and hard to use for like a longer time. So on the device side, there's still a lot of problems to solve. For AR, AR you have on the phones, obviously. That's totally part now of any app programmer can build an app on AR Core or AR Kit. That's the easy part. On mixed reality glasses, it's more complicated to get the right form factor and the right services in place. So there's a longer way to go. Now, do those things grow together? Will the VR glasses have inside-out capabilities and solve some AR issues? Probably, yes. Will the mixed reality glasses become smaller and more capable? Yes, also. Will they merge into one platform? Maybe in the mid to very long term is my view on that one. But it's not 100% clear how this one evolves. So both have their advantages and both have their challenges. We are a little bit more advanced than AR or mixed reality for that matter, but both have still some room for improvement.
Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think AR, especially using technology that's already available in billions of smartphones, for example. If we just take a look at what Sven also said, ARKit and AR Core enabled applications, this really helped also for the people to accept this kind of technology, right? There are also some killer apps we could name, for example, Pokemon Go, which really helped towards the acceptance of AR. But AR versus VR, with VR, I would say you can completely transport yourself away from here and just completely immerse yourself in a very new environment. So if you want to visit an alien planet, for example, if you want to go to Mars, you would rather do it with virtual reality than actually with augmented reality. So both of those technologies are kind of very useful in specific situations. And if you combine them and then you have mixed reality, then you have not only the power of both worlds, but you also create something very new.
Thank you. Marie, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, just as Sven says, there is some kind of paradox because AR is already on smartphones. So I think that we have to improve, we have to develop apps on smartphones and test and learn and be ready for the AR glasses which are coming. And stick together also with experiments just like we have with NREAL.
Thank you guys so much. I think that's it for now for the questions. I'm very happy that you were part of this format for today. We learned a lot. There's probably not going to be one killer app, but several of them. They just need to be integrated in our everyday life. But if we were to dream about something that we really see in the future, then we all agree on something that we can just project into the room, or a holograph that is just interacting with us instead of having just purely Zoom meetings or WebEx meetings all day. And also, I'd like to end this discussion with the thoughts of Tim, the program manager of the Mixed Reality program. You all know him, Tim Akö. He said his dream would be to project his little son crawling around or running around the room into the living room live to his grandparents, which I think is also a very, very lovely, crazy vision that we hopefully get to experience soon. But as of now, I want to say thank you again. This was the 8th session of our Hubraum on Air. I want to once more tell you that we have a XR developer program right now. You can still apply for it. Visit our website. The link to it you can find in the YouTube chat right now. And I also want to mention that we have another very trending topic right now at Hubraum, which is sustainability in the telecommunication network. So we are looking for cutting-edge solutions in that field, and we are also rewarding the best one with the Network Sustainability Award. So if you think you could be the one with the best solution, I welcome you to apply until April 5th and take part in it. Again, thank you so much. I will see you hopefully very soon, to be precise, on the 29th of April for our next Hubraum on Air, where it's all about exit strategies of founders and VCs. And until then, stay tuned and subscribe to our newsletters. Marie, Fabian, and Sven, it was lovely to talk to you. See you very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.